Hello friends! Today we are going to listen to the story of Vikramaditya and the Vedalam, a tale filled with puzzles, wisdom and clever thinking. Let's begin! The story of the two princes. One quiet night, King Vikramaditya was walking through the forest, carrying a tricky spirit Vedalam on his shoulder. As always, Vedalam began telling one of his puzzling stories with a riddle hidden inside. Vedalam said, "Once upon a time in a faraway kingdom, there was a wise and noble king. As he grew older, he began to think about the future of his throne. He had two sons, both brave, both capable. But he faced a difficult question: who should inherit the throne? The first son was highly intelligent. His sharp mind could solve any problem, and his clever ideas could bring prosperity to the land. The second son was kind-hearted. He cared deeply for the people, always willing to listen, always ready to help, always fair in judgment. The king wondered how should he decide who would rule the kingdom. Should intelligence guide the throne, or should kindness hold the crown? Vedalam cackled mischievously and warned, "Vikramaditya, if you know the answer to this riddle and still keep silent, your head will burst. But if you speak, I will fly away back to my tree." So what is the answer? Vikramaditya walked steadily, thinking carefully. The forest winds rustled through the trees as he answered firmly. Both qualities are needed for the great ruler. Intelligence ensures wise decisions, while kindness ensures fairness and justice. If the intelligent one rules alone, he may forget compassion. If the kind-hearted one rules alone, he may lack strategy. But if two brothers rule together, sharing wisdom and compassion, the kingdom will truly prosper. The forest grew silent for a moment. Even Vedalam stopped laughing. Then with a screech, Vedalam shouted, "You are clever, Vikramaditya. You solved my riddle once again. But remember my promise. If you answer, I shall fly away back to my tree." And with a whirl of wind, a very laughter, Vedalam slipped. Once again, Vikramaditya had to turn back, capture Vedalam and carry him away again. Each time he tried, Vedalam told him a new story with a new puzzle to test his wisdom and patience. But Vikramaditya never gave up. He knew that through these riddles lay the path to the greater truth. And so, dear friends, that was today's story. A tale of wisdom, kindness, and balance needed for true leadership. Every time Vikramaditya carried Vedalam, he was tested. And every time his cleverness and sense of justice shone brightly. That's the end of today's story. I will see you again in the next tale of Vikramaditya and the Vedalam. Hello friends! Today we are going to listen to another exciting story of King Vikramaditya and the mischievous spirit Vedalam. A tale full of puzzles with clever answers. So sit back, relax, and let's begin. One quiet night, King Vikramaditya walked through the dark forest. The trees whispered in the wind, others hooted the distance, and moonlight guided his path. As always, the tricky Vedalam sat on his shoulder, giggling and swinging like a child. Suddenly, Vedalam said, "Vikramaditya, let me tell you a story tonight. Listen carefully, for inside the story lies a puzzle." And so the spirit began. Once I had two friends. One of them always spoke the truth, no matter what. He would never lie. The other one, however, always lied. Every word that came from his mouth was false. One day, these two friends met on a lonely road. As they were talking, a group of travelers arrived. The travelers were strangers in the land. They were searching for the nearest city, but the roads looked confusing with many twists and turns. So they asked the two friends, "Dear sirs, can you tell us the way to the city?" No, here was the problem. One friend told them the truth, the other friend told them the exact opposite. But the traveler did not know who was the truth teller and who was the liar. They were stuck in doubt. So, Vikramaditya, tell me, how should those travelers find the right path to the city? Vedalam then cackled and warned, "Remember, Vikramaditya, if you know the answer and remain silent, your head will burst into pieces. But if you speak, I shall fly away from your shoulder and return to my tree. What will you do?" Vikramaditya, answer. Vikramaditya smiled. His footsteps were calm and steady as he walked through the forest. Then he said, "The answer is simple. The travelers must ask one question to either of the two friends. What would your friend say if I ask him the way to the city? If they ask the truth teller, he will tell them what the liar would say, which would be wrong. If they ask the liar, he will tell them what the truth teller would say. But since he lies, he will also point in the wrong direction. So in both cases, the answer they get will always be false. Therefore, the travelers must take the opposite direction of what they are told. The way will surely find the right path to the city." Vedalam clapped his ghostly hands and laughed loudly. "Ha ha ha, clever, clever, Vikramaditya, once again you have solved my riddle. Your wisdom shines brighter than the moonlight." Then, just as he had promised, Vedalam shouted, "But you spoke, so I must fly away." With a whirl of cold wind and shriek of laughter, Vedalam slipped off Vikramaditya's shoulder and flew back to the ancient tree where he lived. And so, dear friends, once again Vikramaditya had to turn back, capture Vedalam and continue his strange journey. Each time Vedalam tested him with a new puzzle, and each time Vikramaditya's intelligence and calm thinking saved the day. This is the end of today's story. I will see you again in the next tale of Vikramaditya and the Vedalam's another night, another riddle, another test of wisdom. Thank you for listening.